What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Wave 19 figures, or at least that's what they were labeled as. We ordered this from Entertainment Earth specifically because of the figures that it came with. But first off, here in the front we get Red Hood and Cyborg. Just two normal figures, nothing special about these. These are going to be basic releases, but we get Red Hood, how he appears more nowadays, so it looks pretty different, where he has an actual like hood on a jacket up and a little mask covering his face and stuff. Just looks cool there. And then from DC Rebirth we have Cyborg, so the more modern day looking Cyborg as well. Comes with a big gun, we've seen that before, but just looks cool. But what also came with these two figures was these three platinum figures in the back, so we went ahead and ordered this just so we could go ahead and get these platinums as well. So first off we have the Question, always a cool character to add to our collection there with the Question. Then we have Shiny Knight, the female version, which looks really cool, just a lady in knight's armor there. And then finally we have Effigy, so he's pretty much like Green Lantern, just with fire instead of like the Green Lantern powers. So looks pretty cool for him as well. Again, wanted to get these just so we could go ahead and get those platinums and not have to worry about trying to find them in stores or anything. So a pretty cool wave overall with a nice range, especially those three platinums with new characters we've not had before. So just a nice additions to the collection. So let me go and get these figures open out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So let's start off with Red Hood, who of course is Jason Todd. Now this is just him in his more modern design. It's labeled as From the Dawn of DC, which is a more recent storyline that's been running. So it looks pretty good with this more modern aesthetic as they labeled his Outlaw design, which looks pretty good. I like this change to Jason Todd. So now he has the Red Hood still with an actual hood on like a jacket, which looks pretty nice. Love like the texturing and everything they did on it. Looks pretty good. So I love the red hood that comes up covering his head, but still underneath he's still covered up face design wise, so he still has like the domino mask, and love how he has the red eyes in there if you can see that. But then it also has this mask that covers like his nose and mouth and everything, so like a little breather. Looks pretty good. Nice shiny metal red, very similar to his normal Red Hood design. Then we get the logo on his chest. Of course can't really move the jacket out of the way, it's permanently stuck on there, but just the little red logo. I don't know if it's supposed to be a bat design or anything, can't get it out of the way to see. Then he has this black t-shirt on. Again, it has a nice texture on it running all the way through it. And then at the bottom of the jacket we get more of this shiny black where there's like pockets and stuff run around to the back. We get holders here as well to hold some of the weapons he'll come with, which is cool. Then like I said, it's like a t-shirt, so we see some of his bare arms, but then he has these red wrappings that go up him with some black gloves with red design on them, at least specifically for this design. Then we get some pants. They're like a dark brown color, but nice red stripes down them, and a belt, nice shiny silver belt buckle all the way down to the boots there on his feet that have a more modern aesthetic to them with red on the bottom, black everywhere else with all sorts of straps and stuff hanging off them. Look pretty nice and padded there for him. So overall a pretty neat design. Of course we'll see the picture of him where he looks a little bit different, but this is just a little different take, still relatively the same, just colors a little bit different, but still overall looks cool for this version of Red Hood. But we can do his movements. Now for the head, it's going to be difficult because he does have this hood design, just like we dealt with Green Arrow not too long ago. So his head in here will move, so you can try to get your finger in here to get it to move, so it can move up and down a little and side to side. But unfortunately the hood is permanently here, so you have to just deal with that. So he can pretty much only just look straight forward because of the hood design, so that stinks. So I wish they would find a way to like separate this out or make it just something different so where his head could still move easily. But then we go to the shoulders, that'll come up to 90, rotate all the way around. Oh, and there's also of course like the standard butterfly. It doesn't really do much, especially on this figure, but has that movement in there. And then he's get the bicep twist and the double elbow that'll bend up that far, which isn't bad. The wrist will twist around and can flex back and forth, a little stiff, but can flex back and forth. Then we go to his ab crunch. So again, with the jacket, it's going to be hard because like I said, it's stuck to him, but lower down, you can see it there. So we do get the ab crunch that'll crunch back and forth a little and can twist around, but still hard to get in there and move all that. And then he should at the waist crunch back and forth a little and twist all the way around there. Then we go down to the hips up towards 90 and out to the side. He can do the splits there. He does have a thigh twist, of course, up in the hips moves a little, but then he actually has a thigh cutout that'll twist all the way around there as well, which is nice. Then the double knee joint that bends up that far to the back, not bad at all. And then down to the foot that'll rock back and forth and twist side to side with the toe joint on the end. So not bad movements at all, pretty relatively standard for McFarlane's, maybe a little better, a little worse, especially with that head design, but overall not bad at all. We can still probably get pose as much as we want, except for that head. But accessory-wise, he does come with some extra hands, so we get some grip hands, so we can give him weapons, which will be cool, so I'll switch these out. And with those grip hands, we can give him weapons. So first, he comes with a katana, so a nice little katana. Of course, it's pretty short, so kind of different there, but nice red handle on it, all silver everywhere else, as well as the crowbar that's kind of iconic for him. him, especially since, you know, he was beat up and pretty much killed by the Joker with a crowbar, so he uses that a lot as a weapon. Now, before we put him in his hands, we can store him on the back, so he has the little grips there. So on the left side, we do have one that's more of just a slot, so we can take like the sword and just slide it in here. Of course, this sword blade's pretty thin and flimsy, so not the easiest to get slid in there, but you can slide that to store it on his back. And then we do have the bigger slot for the crowbar on the right, so you can store that on there as well. So there they are stored on his back. Of course, they're just loosely gripped on there, but we can store those, so have that if we want. But let's go and just put him in his hand. So there he's got the crowbar and the sword now, which looks pretty cool. So I like that he has the design with the sword. You know, swords are always cool. And then that he still carries the crowbar around, again, because of his backstory. So overall, looks pretty awesome for a Red Hood there. And of course, we've had other Red Hoods. I just grabbed this one, but here's a Red Hood again using that crowbar weapon. But what he used to look like compared to what he looks like now with his modern costume. So again, looks nice. I really like the design. Everything about it looks cool. I just wish the hood would work out, just so, like I said, we could pose him up a little bit more there. Of course, as usual with the McFarlanes, they come with the base we can put him on, so that'll keep him standing. And then we get his card. So there's the picture of him from Dawn of DC, and again, the outfit, you know, looks relatively similar to what he's got. Not exactly, some colors are different. And he still has the katana and the crowbar in his hands, at least that's what it looks like there. So pretty cool overall for that. And then on the back, we just have the standard Jason Todd story, so won't go through that, but it's, you know, just his normal stuff there. And overall, a pretty cool Red Hood. You know, we've got multiple Red Hoods by now, so just adding another one to the collection. And at least like with this one, like I said, it looks different, so it makes it stand out more compared to the others, so like having this version added. And next up, we have Cyborg from the DC Rebirth, so that specific design. He is Victor Stone, which was a high school athlete that got severely injured in an accident, so his father added artificial limbs and implants to save him. But Victor was miserable with his new life, but he found purpose that he could equip weapons to himself and became a superhero. And of course, he has cybernetic enhancements that gives him superhuman strength, speed, and durability, as well as flight. He can also shapeshift and project energy. And he looks cool here. Again, it's the DC Rebirth, so more modern aesthetic to him, but overall still looks cool. Of course, the half cyborg with his name being Cyborg, half cyborg, so we get the human side of his face there. Victor Stone looks really nice. We get his hair and face, all that looks good, and the rest is all cyborg, at least, you know, what we see here. He's got, of course, the whole suit on with the black and silver design, and then love like the Cyborg logo there on his chest, a little bit of red details like on his forehead, of course his eye there that he can shoot stuff, a little bit of red on his chin, and then little like dots and stuff spread around on his body. So all that is pretty nice with all black and silver everywhere else. Love like the striations and stuff running through it as well. So nice suit design overall with the silver thrown in on the designs as well. So looks pretty decent overall for a Cyborg. It's a nice smaller size Cyborg to add to the collection. But for movements, we get that'll twist all the way around. You can look down that far and up that far, so not the best range there. We get the shoulders that come up to 90 with that butterfly, and we'll rotate around within there. We get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that'll bend up that far, pretty much all the way up on itself. We get the wrist that'll twist around and can flex back and forth. Then we go to his ab crunch, so we get the upper ab crunch back and forth, mostly back and forth, so I can't really get any farther forward, and he'll twist around easily. And then at the waist, he'll crunch back and forth, again, mostly back on this, and we'll twist around there as well. Then we go down to the hips, that'll come up to 90, out to the side, close to doing the splits, not fully, but not far off. Pretty much no thigh twist on him. The double knee joint, that'll bend up that far to the back, not bad at all. And then down to the foot, that'll flex back and forth, and twist side to side with the toe joint on the end. So pretty decent movements, good movements overall for him. Of course, a little loose there, so he kind of twists around pretty easily with that upper ab crunch, so that's a little loose, but it doesn't mess with anything too much, so no issues with that. But accessory-wise, the only thing he comes with is this big gun, so he can transform, you know, his limbs and stuff into guns. So we get this big gun. We've seen this before with past figures. I think it was like a Green Lantern or something, but we can put this on him, so we just need to pop his hand out. At least it makes it a lot easier if you pop his hand off and then put this big gun on his arm. And his arm sort of like pops in there. I assume it's like friction and stuff that allows that to stick on there. So now he's got that big gun on his arm, which looks really cool. So he can be firing that out, which is awesome. But of course, having that big gun does make him harder to stand. So we get the base to put him on. So there's Cyborg with that big gun, and that looks really cool. Now, we've had Cyborgs in the past. Most have been the movie versions, but we do have this one. I can't remember if it was a Build-A-Figure or whatever it was, but I think it was from Flashpoint. We just get this big Cyborg. So it's, like I said, nice to have this smaller one that can easily fit more on a shelf. Now, I wish it was more of the basic classic design. I'd prefer that more, but just for what it is, this is a nice Cyborg, a good one to fit in any spot on our collection, as opposed to this big giant one we got, which is still cool, but like I said, having just a normal human size one is what I'd prefer more. So this Victor is awesome. And then of course we get his card. So there's a picture of him from DC Rebirth. Like I said, looks pretty much the same. I wish it looked as sleek as it does. Like in the picture, how sleek his suit looks on him. I wish it was more like that, but still not bad either way. And you can see like a gun design there on him. So it looks good overall. And then we have his story on the back, which it says the pre-Flashpoint incarnation of Victor Stone was a star football player and an all-around athlete. After he was mortally injured in a laboratory experiment gone wrong, his father turned him into a cyborg to save his life. This was the first of several transformations the young hero would undergo in his career. So pretty basic there for him, not anything specific really for like the DC Rebirth version, but like I said, still cool to get a normal human-sized version of Victor to add to our collection. Now moving over to our platinums, we've got The Question, who is Vic Sage. He's a television investigative journalist that was working in Hub City, and he was approached by his former professor who had invented an artificial skin called pseudoderm that could be worn as a mask to cover his face and hide his facial features. So he would use this to start a career in fighting and investigating crime. So cool to have him. Of course, he's an old comic character. I want to say from Charlton Comics, if I can't remember if I had to have that right or not, but he was the basis or inspiration for Rorschach from The Watchmen, because The Watchmen was supposed to be all these other characters that they were going to combine into a big team, but then lost the rights to it, so they had to make up these other characters. So who was supposed to be The Question ended up becoming Rorschach, as we know him. So cool to have him here in a figure, just this nice basic, design. He doesn't really change much over the years, like his outfit design stuff changes, but I love how this is a nice classic one. Love the blue suit. Like I said, to me, that's always classic for The Question. Just the thing of his features is that, he has the mask on, so you don't see his eyes or mouth or anything. You can see where his nose is and all that, but you don't see any like specific facial features or anything, which is nice. We still get his ears and his black hair and all that, but he's got the blue fedora on his head, which is nice. Again, nice like old-timey investigative person, especially with the blue like trench coat on as well, or long jacket there. It looks pretty cool. And then underneath he's got a blue vest with blue pinstripe pants, which is pretty cool, all the way to the black shoes there on his feet, black gloves, and then I love the yellow shirt with the black tie. Again, just looks very nice and classic, like old-timey, just really nice classic design for The Question. Now, moot-wise, we get his head that'll twist all the way around. Of course, a little bit stiff there, but it can twist all the way around. You can look down that far and up that far. So pretty decent range for him, actually, there. So that's nice. We get the shoulders up to 90, getting a little bit of the butterfly and rotate around. We get the bicep twist and the double elbow. That was really stuck on him, but can bend up there pretty much all the way up on itself. Then we get the wrist that'll twist around and can flex back and forth there on the ball. Then we go to the ab crunch. Now it's going to be under his vest here, so it's going to be hard to tell. So we just do get some crunching back and forth and twist around. Of course, I can feel that's mostly at the waist. So I assume he has the normal stuff where he's going to have an ab crunch and everything under there, but with the vest covering up, it's hard to tell. But then we go down to the legs that'll come up there pretty much to 90. Of course, I'm forcing it there to get it up that high. And then out to the side, he can do the splits there, which is nice. Very little thigh twist and the double knee joint that'll bend up that far to the back. Not too bad at all. And then down to the foot, back and forth, and twist side to side with the toe joint on the end. So pretty nice design. I'm surprised he has as much range as he does, especially with the trench coat and all that, but looks pretty good, works out nice. So a lot of good things with this figure. Of course, he is pretty basic in design, but that's what he is, so he carries it off pretty easily. Now, he doesn't come with any accessories because nothing really go with him. He doesn't have, really superpowers. Now, he would use guns and stuff, and he does have a trigger finger hand, so we'll have to just get a gun from the weapons packs that McFarlane sells and give him just a basic pistol to use, but he of course comes with the base. So that'll keep him standing, and we do get his card as well. So there's a picture of him more in all brown, so there he looks more like Rorschach with that design, but I love all the question marks around him and all that. But then on the back we get that it's Vic Sage, and it says when Crisis on Infinite Earths first reshaped continuity, the Question migrated to Earth from another reality. His career ended when he died from cancer, but he ensured there would always be answers by training Gotham City detective Renee Montoya to become the new Question. Following Flashpoint, the Question was reimagined as a mystic enigma. Eons ago, with Pandora and the Phantom Stranger, he faced the Council of Eternity to answer for his sins. Defiant and unrepentant, his punishment was having his identity and visage magically erased. In modern times, he sought Pandora's box, hoping to answer the question of his identity. United with the Phantom Stranger and Pandora as the Trinity of Sin, but eventually betrayed him. After this, he vanished and no one knows where. There's a long story going over his long history there, so nice to have all that information, but like I said, for the Question, pretty basic guy, not a whole lot to him, so nice to have him in this figure that they pulled off really nicely. And next up, we have Shiny Knight, which is the Justina version, because there's been multiple versions, mostly with the male Sir Justin, but this is the female form. Now, she was born around 8000 BC and was an admirer of Sir Galahad of the Round Table. So she disguised herself as a boy named Euston so that she could be closer to him. But when the monster Sheeta invaded Camelot, resulting in the deaths of all the knights, Justina was plunged into a pool that sent her through time to the 21st century. And she would go on to aid other heroes in battle and enrolled at the H.S. Johnson School for Superheroes. Now, she has powers of immortality after drinking from the Holy Grail, and then she wears a suit of armor, as well as using Caliburn, which is King Arthur's sword, and flies on a winged horse named Vanguard. So she looks cool here. It's nice to get a version of Shiny Knight. Like I said, there's been a male and a female version. I think this female's been more used recently in the comics, so that's probably why we got her. But overall, looks pretty good for it. So it just looks like a female in a nice gold armor. So I love the head design. Of course, it reminds of like Steppenwolf with the horns coming off the head. Nice red jewel there on top as well. And the face, so she has lipstick and of course the eyelashes, stuff like that. So they have that design to let you know it is a female. Love the spikes on the helmet as well. Then she has the darker gold chainmail running all through her, so you can see it down her chest, on her arms, and her legs there, with the nice shiny gold. So we get the armor up on her shoulder, chest plate here in the center with a nice bird design, a little bit of silver thrown in there as well, like around her neck and the chain there. She has elbow pads and some guards on her forearms in gold with black designs, a little bit of belt details here around her waist, and more gold hanging down on her thighs, and down to her feet she has the nice gold boots. So she has the high heels, so she is hard to stand up, especially because this leg's a little bit off and weird, so I'll probably have to put her on the stand. But nice armor coming up. We've seen this body before with a Wonder Woman figure. I can't remember what she was from, but it's pretty much this exact same figure reused. And then she has a nice red cape hanging off the back, so nice plastic with some gold at the end of that as well. So looks pretty nice overall for this design for, carries it off really nicely. But for movements, we have that'll twist all the way around. She'll look down the far and up the far, so not much range for her. Shoulders can come up to 90 with a little bit of the butterfly and rotate around within there. We get the bicep twist and the double elbow that'll bend up that far, pretty close to getting all the way up on itself. Armor is just in the way. Wrist will twist all the way around, and of course it's got the ball joint there, so whatever it is can flex back and forth. Then we go to the ab crunch, again hidden in the midsection here, so she'll just crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Then down to the hips, we can come up there pretty much to 90 and out to the side. Not fully to the splits because of the armor, but still not bad. She has some thigh twist and the single knee joint that'll bend back that far, and of course has some rotation in it as well. Then we go down to foot, that'll rock back and forth a little, and very little twisting, like it'll twist around side to side, but it won't like do the hinge side to side, so that's what's causing her to have issues standing, with the toe joint on the end of the boots there. So not bad movements overall, not the best though, and like I said, I do have a lot of issues getting her to stand, so I'll go and just put her on the base just so I can keep her standing up. So hopefully that'll help keep her standing there. And then for accessories, the only thing she comes with is the sword, which like I said is the Caliburn, which was King Arthur's sword. So nice long sword there, nice design on the hilt, all that looks good with the nice red jewel with all the gold and all that. So that looks awesome. So let's put this in her hand. So there's Shiny Knight with her sword, and that looks really nice. We also get her card there, so there's a picture of her from the 7 Soldiers of Victory, which is a group she's in. Oh, and that reminds me, I do have some figures. So from that 7 Soldiers of Victory, we have Frankenstein. Of course, he's really big, so hard to fit him in there. They are in that group together, so we have her. And then she's also in Demon Knights with Etrigan, so we have Etrigan there as well. So just different groups she's in, so you can start to build those groups out. I doubt we'll get all the figures to be able to build either one of those, but we do have some other figures to go along with her from those groups. But back to the card, so nice picture of her. There's another character there in the background, but looks pretty good overall for her. And then we have her story on the back, which has the different names she's went by. But it says the gender fluid immortal knight Euston has also been known as Justina, Sir Justin, and the Shiny Knight, and was present at Merlin's rebirth in Avalon as Adam 1. As one of the demon knights, ancestors of Stormwatch, Justina battled alien and demonic threats. Justina was granted immortality after a sip from the Holy Grail during the fall of Camelot, but she was cursed with an unquenchable desire to drink from the Grail again. Euston rode the winged horse Vanguard, fighting alongside such demon knights as Madame Xanadu and Jason Blood. He also wielded the sword known as Caliburn or Excalibur, marking him as a champion of Camelot. Justina fought with the demon knights against the vampire Cain and was been fulfilling his vision of one day becoming undead. So there's a backstory, of course, mixing all the different versions up there together, but still a cool figure. Nice that we got a Shiny Knight for once, and like I said, I feel they're using this version more more recently, so it makes sense why we've got her. But still, overall, a nice looking figure. I just wish the feet didn't have the issues of keeping her standing, but at least overall, she does look really good. And that brings us to our final figure of Effigy, who is Martin Van Wyck. Now, he was abducted by the controllers who experimented on him and gave him fire powers, but they believed he was a failure experiment, so they returned him to Earth. But there his powers began to develop, and he takes up the name Effigy and begins causing trouble in Hollywood, leading to a confrontation with Kyle Rayner, and the two would have many battles over the years until Spectre trapped him in a lantern. So cool to have Effigy, and in this design, it looks pretty much how he does. So really cool to have that. It looks creepy at the same time with that all white face, but the like black lipstick and black around his eyes. So that's creepy, but love how he has the fiery hair. And then his suit that looks pretty much like he does. So has the red up on his shoulders and a little bit of like V design coming down, but then like the brown everywhere else. So that's pretty nice. Till we get to the gloves where he does have some red gloves. Love like segmented piece there as well. So just overall looks pretty nice. Pretty basic, but I always love basic character designs like this with just a few colors, but like whatever their powers are, which we'll get with some effects. So really nice for that, but love like that flame effect on his head as well. Just a really nice figure design, simple and basic, but looks good. Now, Moonwise, get his head that'll twist all the way around. You look down that far and up that far, so not bad. Once again, pretty decent movements there for that. We have the shoulders up to 90 with the butterfly and rotate around. Get the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends all the way up on itself there. Wrist will twist around. Again, wherever the ball joint is, it'll flex back and forth. Then we go to the ab crunch with the upper crunch there, back and forth. Again, mostly back for this, but crunch there and a little bit of twist. Pretty much nothing because it won't twist beyond that, so not that. But then we get the lower ab crunch back and forth, but we'll twist around there. Then we go down to his hips. That'll come up to 90. Out to the side, he can do the splits. Pretty much no thigh twist and the double knee joint. That'll bend up that far to the back, not bad. And then we go down to the foot. That'll rock back and forth, twist side to side, and has the toe joint on the end. So not bad at all. Again, the basic McFarlane design. So nothing really new or different about him, but still looks good, works decently enough. So no issues at all. Now he has the powers, if you couldn't tell by his hair, of pyrokinesis. So very similar to Green Lantern, he can make constructs, but specifically out of fire. So we do get some fire effects that we can put on his hands. So we get this nice ball effect we can put on a fist, and then just slide this onto his hand with a nice like shooting out flame. So let's put these on. So there's Effigy with those effects. I'm not sure, I didn't pay attention enough if they go on certain hands, because they do have the shapes for the fist, so you just pop them on. They don't fully go on, but they do sit on and stick pretty well, so don't have to worry about them falling off. But there I just put the ball flame on his right hand, and the left has the flame shooting out like he's trying to attack. So that looks pretty awesome there. I love the flame effects for him that. And then he of course also comes with the base we can put him on. So that'll make him stable there. And as I read, he fights with Kyle Rayner a lot. So here we have Kyle Rayner, so we can have the two facing off there with their different construct powers. But I love how he has the flame. The Green Lanterns just have weird effects with the green light construct and everything. But it's cool with having actual flames. I think that is awesome. But then we get his cards. So there's Effigy just from the Green Lantern. Love the planet with the Green Lantern logo there on the back. That's cool. And then we have his story on the back, which of course is Martin Van Wyck, as I mentioned. And it says, disgruntled loser, Martin Van Wyck was abducted by the alien controllers and given fire-based powers before being deemed a failed experiment and sent back to Earth. When using his powers, Van Wyck transformed into a white-skinned, flamed head being and took the name of Effigy. With no other ambitions, he wreaked havoc, setting fire to the Hollywood sign. Effigy suffered a gruesome death during the final crisis when the Spectre burned him alive in a lantern. So there's pretty much what I already said, just in a little more details added to it. So very cool overall. Like I said, really like design, nice, simple, and basic design, but it works. Like I said, I love simple, basic design characters that really look how they're supposed to and show off their powers, like with his flame powers, especially with those effects added in. Just looks awesome and a nice figure added to the collection. Well, that's it for our DC Multiverse Wave 19 figures, where we got Red Hood, Cyborg, The Question, Shining Knight, and Effigy. All 5 of these figures are really cool. Love adding the different versions of Red Hood. The more human scaled down version of Cyborg is awesome. And then our 3 platinum figures of Question, Shining Knight, and Effigy are all really cool. Love the designs, especially Question and Effigy. Those are just nice classic designs for them. And then Shining Knight, like I said, nice to at least get a version. So getting the Justina version is pretty nice as well. So let me know what you thought of these 5 figures down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with that like, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.